Well, the question then is, who killed Sunanda Tharoor, and are we ever really going to get to the bottom of what really happened on 17th January 2014? Joining us on the program tonight, we have Suhail Seth, who knew both Shashi and Sunanda Tharoor very well. Shobha Day, author and columnist, who has written about a disturbing conversation that Sunanda had with her in the months before her death. Former IPS officer Kiran Bedi joins us tonight to look at how the police has investigated this case. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao from the BJP joins us this evening, and we have Shehzad Poonawala, who is a close friend of Shashi Tharoor's and a member of the Congress party. Let me first take this question to you, Suhail. Were you shocked when you heard this news today that a murder case had been registered? Because there have been various theories and conspiracies that have been floating around for a while. But, you know, it's taken 1 year, and in 1 year you suddenly have a murder case. Were you surprised?
I wasn't shocked, because nothing now shocks me in our country, especially where criminal investigation is concerned. But I was a bit surprised, yes, at the tonality of the press statement issued by the Police Commissioner of Delhi for three reasons. Number one, this has, as you said, been hanging fire from January 17, 2014. There was a letter which the Delhi police wrote to the investigating officer in April asking for a report, which didn't come by. Today we get to know that statements will be recorded afresh. There are three very logically contradictory things that have been said. Number one, that we don't know the causes, but we know it's unnatural. Number two, we believe it's a case of poisoning. And number three, we'll have to send these samples abroad for further investigation. So what you've done is, in the interim, you've established murder without establishing evidence. In fact, you yourself are saying, means the police commissioner, that while we don't have complete evidence, it's 302, which is culpable homicide, and not section 309, which is suicide. So as a normal citizen who doesn't understand the intricacies of law and the doublespeak that goes with it at times, I'm a bit confused. So where is this trial? Number one. Number two, if high-profile cases like this have such tardy investigation backing them up, we need to worry. You know, this is not the time, Nidhi, to score political brownie points, and I think both the political parties are mature enough not to throw slander. A life has been lost, a husband has been widowed, and a son has been orphaned. We need to take these into consideration. So I really don't know what happened to Sunanda. The Sunanda I knew was vivacious, full of life, but then you and I will never know what that one single trigger is which makes you keel over and take your own life. You and I can never ever be the arbiters of that.
No, I want to take the questions that you raised because they're very important to Kiran Bedi first. Kiran Bedi, why has it taken so long? 1 year. This has been a really shoddy investigation from all aspects, at least, when we look at it as outsiders. You have the police swinging from one theory to another. Should it take 1 year to register a murder case in such a high-profile case?
I wouldn't conclude like this, Nidhi. First of all, none of us are privy to the processes they've gone through. None of us have. And I think we need to respect the fact that we have very limited information. The only information you and I have is the statement given by the police commissioner. None of us have seen any papers. So why should we rush to conclusions, Nidhi? And registering a case doesn't mean that somebody is an accused. The fact is that now is another legal process of investigation which has begun. It may just end up with nobody still knowing who did it and who did it. It may still not be known. It may come still to be a suicide. It could be a concoction of medicines which has been taken. It could be murder. I think none of us still know. So I would urge you, let's not rush to any conclusion that it was shoddy. I think a whole new investigation process has begun, because once you register an FIR, then you have the police is armed with more powers to demand and seek evidence. I think that's another process which has begun. So I'm not going to conclude right now that the process has been shoddy or who is accused.
The reason I say that,
I think earlier it was an inquiry.
No,
now
I know that.
It's a whole legal process of investigation which
but
has
the
begun.
reason I'm bringing up the police's
there's
role,
no named. The FIR has gone unnamed.
No, but the reason I'm bringing up the police's role, Ms. Bedi, is also because you have seen the investigation swinging from one end to the other. We've also seen the medical board, for instance, of AIIMS, and I have their report earlier in September, where they were actually sounding fairly annoyed with the police for not giving them the circumstantial evidence that they had asked for. In fact, way back in April, just 3 months after she had died, they had asked for them to investigate the circumstantial evidence. They wanted certain statements. They wanted photographs of the scene where it happened. They've written it down right here here that we've not got any of these from the investigating officer. And so, it's mystifying that why this investigation was so tardy, because it does appear that that was the case.
I like the word you use, mystifying. I think it's still a mystery. Who is saying what? Who is saying what? But I think we need to go along. I don't think the current police chief and the current police system would play games with such a case. No way. Because every word of what they've done is justifiable before the court once the process is complete. So I don't think they would put themselves culpable in such an investigation. And it's not an ordinary investigation. I think it's one of the most mystifying investigation of a murder case. You have no eyewitnesses. You have no eyewitnesses. You only have medical evidence. You literally have only medical evidence. Unless you detect through certain cameras, has there been an intruder in such a hotel? So I don't want to fly any conceptions or any ideas. All I know is it's one of the very challenging investigations before the Delhi police.
Shobha De, the question that many would ask is, if indeed she was killed, then what was the motive for such a murder? You had a conversation with her. I asked Suhail this question as well, as both of you had conversations with her before her death. What would the possible motive be in this case?
Nidhi, I would hate to speculate again as to what the motive could have been and who's actually done it. All I know is that the person I met was completely coherent. She was very clear about wanting to live. She was concerned about other issues like her safety, and she was also concerned about her health.
Why was she concerned about her safety?
About the investigation process, she was concerned about the safety because perhaps she felt that she was privy to certain information which she was willing to share at the right time, and that there were people who would have been seriously impacted if she were to go public with that information. Beyond that, it's really not fair to say anything else. But to talk about this investigation being shoddy, I'd like to say the earlier investigation was shoddier still. Maybe there were political pressures at the time, and if the police at that time sat on certain evidence, did not share information, there must have been a very good reason why they did that. Today, what we are looking at is a much more fair investigation, and we should give the police commissioner a chance to really take this to its logical end and logical conclusion without kind of vitiating the atmosphere with our own two-bit theories about who did it and who didn't. Let the police decide that, let the courts decide that, and I hope there is a trial, and I hope they do manage to get enough evidence to nail whoever it is who did something so awful to a young woman.
Okay, before I get to Suhail on this, let me ask Shehzad Poonawala and GVL Rao on this question. Shehzad, to you first. A point that Shobha De made, which many people have talked about, is that did the police not really act enough on this case because there was a UPA government when this happened and in the months that followed, and now maybe a fair investigation is taking place?
Well, first of all, let me separate the subjective interpretations that have been put in some in this debate from the facts of the case. The facts of the case are that this case has been investigated for almost a year, 5 months in the UPA government and 7 months actually under Mr. Modi's government. You've had some people say that the AIIMS doctor Sudhir Gupta was put under immense pressure, as you might be suggesting that UPA was controlling the investigation of the police as well. Some people have said it.
He himself said it.
He himself said it. Subramaniam Swamy from the BJP has also said it. The AIIMS hospital, which came under Harshvardhan as health minister, came out and clarified in a press conference there was no pressure on him. After that, another aspect was brought up that perhaps there are some syringe marks, there are some photographs, there are some bruises. All of these aspects have been placed before the SDM. As you know, an SDM inquiry started immediately because it was a death within 7 years. you say that Mr. Tharoor was being protected. Mr. Tharoor as minister in the UPA government on 20th January 2014 had put himself forward before the SDM for an inquiry. He's always said that he's going to cooperate with the inquiry. Even a statement today has said that I am fully cooperating. But do you know who has not cooperated with him? The post-mortem report of AIMS, which by the way said that Sunanda was poisoned. It spoke of poisons like caffeine and acetaminophen, which are easily available over the counter in cigarettes, coffee, in stuff like Excedrin, which Sunanda took. They put that as the poison, and they didn't even share that report with Dr. Tharoor. Why haven't they done that if they have nothing to hide? After that, they, Subramaniam Swamy, and I'm saying Subramaniam Swamy because he's one of the major persons who've been spinning these theories, which are completely bogus. He says that there was foreign poison used. The police commissioner himself is saying he doesn't know which poison is used. How does Mr. Swamy know what poison has been used? The point is
there's a murder case that is there now.
The point is that if there is a murder case, fine. Nobody, and especially Shashi Tharoor, can do nothing about it. He is saying that his wife has been murdered. He's grieving. He wants the full truth to be out. Shiv Menon and two other brothers of Sunanda, who are actually her real brothers and not some Ashok Kumar who's been caught from somewhere who didn't even speak to Sunanda, have said that they stand by Shashi Tharoor. Now, what does Shashi Tharoor do if the police was incompetent first and got more competent now? That's not Shashi Tharoor's problem. The point is only this.
But the point is there is a murder case and it is a very, very serious...
That is fine. If there is a murder case,
yes,
then please get to the bottom of it, because the person who's been murdered is Shashi Tharoor's wife and he's not even an accused.
But are you alleging then there is a political motive to this?
All I am saying is this, that for everyone to come here and say that they are crusading for justice for Sunanda, let us understand, even the police commissioner has not said that Mr. Tharoor is a suspect or an accused, and so it is reasonable for us to believe that he cares the most about who murdered his wife, if at all she's been murdered.
Okay, let me just get Mr. GVL Rao into this. Mr. Rao, how does the BJP look at this? Because, you know, there have been some, you know, suggestions from the Congress today as well, about the motives of filing this case, because there's been a regime change at the centre. Do you think the law is just taking its own course? How does the BJP look at this?
No, I think this was a high-profile crime, and the whole nation was shocked to hear about the crime, and the manner of death, I think, had aroused a lot of doubt about it. Circumstantial evidence available at that time also pointed towards some foul play. But then it is for the police to investigate. If they have now come to the conclusion that conclusively, if they have arrived at this finding that there was a foul play or there was poisoning, and they have even said today this could even be self-administered. To me, that sounds a little absurd. But then it is the police which can actually investigate and get to the bottom of the truth. The BJP does not see the BJP. The BJP does not see this. I think please don't interfere.
Okay,
let me have my say.
Let him finish. I'll let you rebut that.
Please don't intervene.
Go ahead, Mr. Rao.
We are not making allegations against any individual, and obviously Mr. Tharoor is the husband of the person who's died or who has been killed, and the investigations, let the Delhi police investigate in a completely free and fair manner. The BJP does not want to see this through the political prism, and if the Congress is trying to politicize it, I think they are only doing grave injustice to the person who died, and it is
GVL. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy happens to belong to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and he's behaving like a professional misery hunter. He says that he has all the facts in his pocket. Now, if the facts were so clear to him, he's a member of the same party that made Mr. Tharoor the brand ambassador of Swachh Bharat. So I don't understand that at the one end, you say that, oh, we are not saying that he's guilty. But on the other end, you have these people who link it, who have facts, which they've come up with from I don't know where, and then you do not even condemn them. So I want you to do this. Why don't you do this?
No, why should I condemn them? Let me say this very clear.
GVL, please say this in the interest of not politicizing it. Please say this, that Subramaniam Swamy is absolutely wrong for politicizing it and for declaring a grieving husband to be the murderer of his wife without even waiting for an investigation. I think as a responsible political party, the least you should do is this. Condemn Subramaniam Swamy for all his crackpot theories that he comes up with.
Okay, let him answer.
I think Mr. Dr. Subramanian Swamy has been a crusader, and he has taken up many issues of this kind, and most often I think he has been proved right. But in this case, I am not really saying what he is saying is the party position. The party does not defend whatever he is saying.
Therefore,
But then,
that Mr. Modi's
personally
judgment
speaking,
is wrong.
personally speaking,
He's saying
I have
therefore that
found
Rajnath Singh
Dr.
has been
Swamy,
protecting Shashi Tharoor
Dr.
all this
Swamy
while.
to have found,
He's saying
to have
therefore your
crusaded
health
against
minister,
many issues and
Mr.
been
Harshvardhan was
proved
protecting
right.
him.